This is Smithy.tv.
Hi, you're listening, watching, tuning in to 5 Questions with Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Lalonde, and with me is the lovely, talented Shannon Beckner.
Thank you.
Look at me with the compliment.
That's the last bit.
It ends with that. The rest of it's just nasty and.
Well, it was nice while it lasted.
Your ears match your dress.
They do. They both have flowers. Both have flowers.
That was intentional, right? You totally.
A little bit. Yeah. Today I was like, you put on I was really excited to wear this dress because it's summery out and it's such a summery dress. And then you're like, okay, now I got to accessorize properly. And you guys know, right? You go through this every day. Earrings do I wear with this.
You put more thought into your outfit today than I've ever put in my entire dressing of my entire life.
Maybe.
My wedding day, maybe. Color coordination.
Wedding days, yeah. I think wedding days are up there for everybody, for sure.
Not counting that, though.
Really?
Yeah.
And probably somebody else dressed you on your wedding day, right?
That's just it. I actually put very little thought into that day. I just had to make sure I stood there and they measured me and cupped their feel and did all that kind of fun stuff.
I'm imagining you put a lot of thought into Halloween, though. Something that you would wear on Halloween. I guess it doesn't really count as an outfit. It's a costume.
That can't count.
All right, it
doesn't count.
Fine.
Well, it's not day-to-day stuff, right? Oh, that's not true. Here's I put.
What about like film festival openings or screenings? You must have a special lucky jacket.
The best advice I ever got.
Cravat.
Lucky cravat. Well, I don't whip out the cravat for just anything.
Fair enough.
But the best advice I ever got on dressing was from Anthony Graney, who produced my first film. Because I was like, we were going to a festival. I'm like, I don't know, what the fuck do I wear? And he said, you're an independent filmmaker. You wear whatever the fuck you want to wear. I was like, thank you. I will now dress like a slob for the rest of my career. I wear a hood.
And people actually think you're probably even more successful.
Yeah, I wear a hoodie and ended up wearing like a suit jacket and an Ernie and Bert t-shirt. Mm-hmm. There, because I'm like, that's what I feel like wearing.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
When we lived in LA, Amanda and Zoe and I, whenever we'd see actors that were really successful people, we ran into like Cameron Diaz and.
They look like bums, right?
They look like bums. You almost don't even recognize. You're like, oh, there's that guy that looks like Keanu Reeves, but he's dressed terribly. You're like, oh, no, that's Keanu Reeves. No. Just.
That homeless guy looks like Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, that homeless guy, yeah. I guess they're just trying to be like so incognito or so like, I don't care, I'm so successful, but I don't care.
I think it's more the incognito thing.
Maybe, and I can appreciate that.
The baseball cap, the sunglasses.
Baseball cap, sunglasses, yeah.
That's how you do.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that Kaylee Cuoco, speaking of sunglasses and hat, is dating the new Superman?
The Henry Cavill? She's dating Superman?
Yeah.
So she's gone from like a guy who reads comics.
That's what I'm saying.
To a guy who's.
Do you think it's kind of ironic? Like her character would totally appreciate the irony that she's like dating this nerd that knows nothing about comics.
They should bring him as.
She's like. God,
they should have him guest spot on the show as like as a rival love interest for Leonard, like him as himself.
They really should. Did you see the new Superman? Did you like it?
I'm gonna go see it tonight.
You're gonna
I think.
Oh, okay. As parents, we always have to put it off, right? Like we never see almost anything on opening weekend anymore.
It's. I was having this conversation with Dan earlier. How my wife is going out of town with the kids, and my wife's not big into big blockbuster movies.
What good deed did you do to do
that? I am on set on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And so they're going up ahead because they wanted to go to the farm and stuff, so I'm going to join them that evening.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted to go up early, so I have I'm on hiatus right now too, so I'm like, well, one day I'll podcast, tomorrow I'm going to be in my underwear playing like Mario Kart.
Oh, the possibilities.
Yeah. Shannon's going to come over and play.
Before kids?
We'll just in our underwear and play Mario Kart.
Who's coming over?
You.
Oh, okay. Yes. I will do that. I've never played Mario Kart.
That got awkward really quickly.
But Mario Kart never goes out of style. I know little kids that love Mario Kart.
It'll be more weird because it'll be grown-ups.
I played it, so.
Yeah. So anyway, so she's not really big into like the big blockbustery kind of movies. She likes.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
So for me, like for example, it's like I was talking about I'm going to go see Before Midnight because I love those movies, right?
The ones that you light up and see it before the day that it's released?
No. It's called Before Midnight.
What's Before Midnight?
There's a movie called Before. Who's on first? Jesus Christ.
The trilogy?
Yeah.
Before Sunrise.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the first one. I never saw the second or third.
Oh, you have to. Well, so I'm like, well, I'm going to go see the late show of that. And she's like, I will murder you.
Yeah.
if you see that without me. But I'm like,
There's certain things.
So
ones that
tonight
are
it's going to
important.
be Superman and World War Z because she could give a shit if I see those movies.
So you're going to see both of them tonight?
Yeah.
Wow, back to back? Wow.
Hardcore like that, Shannon Beckner.
Yeah, you might see my husband at World War Z. He's going with his work buddies.
Like,
I wasn't. I know. I would be like, I want to see, and I will. Maybe I'll see it. I'm going out with Amanda and Zoe tomorrow night, so maybe I'll go see it with them. But this one, I don't know. I read the book.
Is that, I'm just going
Did
to
you
double
read the
check
book?
and make sure your mic's in the
Oh, I'm sorry. Am
I think you're
close?
fine. I'm just being anal.
Okay.
Don't do that close.
Oh. fine.
You read the book World War Z?
I read the book World War Z, and I wasn't that impressed with it. It was just like
Oh.
another depressing monologue after another depressing monologue, and it was just, I was like, how are they going to make this
It's
into
gonna be, well,
a
I don't think
movie?
they're following
But
the book
no,
at all
I hear
because
that they're-
you can't. It's like the book takes place 10 years after, and the movie is taking place during the
Oh, that's right, during the whole...
during what, which makes more sense. I'm like, that would be a terrible movie if they did it the way the book is done, because it would have to be a documentary, really. And then it'd be interesting. And I know they did an audiobook of it, and I'm sure that's more interesting probably than reading the book, because they are just a series of monologues. So to hear like a good actor doing them is going to be a lot more engaging than just the book. Because I did find there's a lot of elements of the book that I really enjoyed.
It was very well written.
But
I
it was
very
like
involved with the characters, but yeah, they're not real stakes because whoever's telling the story
survived. Yeah, well,
and
that's
the narrator survived. So
yeah, that is the problem. It felt more like anyway. Yeah, it didn't have that connection where you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna. You know how it ends.
Is it just me, or is this the first movie, from what I can tell in the trailers, that it takes place at the inception of the 28 Days Later was 28 Days Later. Walking Dead is after the fact, because after he wakes up in the hospital room. This is the first one where it's happening. Like you see it and you kind
The
of see it
Romero
unfold.
ones. Did the Romero ones?
Oh, that's a good question. I never
I think
Romero.
even the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead started at the inception of it.
Did it? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because Sarah
Dawn
Polley
of the
like wakes
Dead?
up in her hut and like someone breaks into their house or something like that. And
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
so I mean, most zombie movies
forgot
never
about that.
ever explain the origin or the cause of it. It just happens. It's just a freak occurrence.
Right.
So I don't think there's any that really do that. Maybe I don't know if World War Z will or does. Have you seen it? You don't.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Anyway, but that's pretty rare. But there are ones that I think do start at the inception.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's never necessarily the most interesting part. Anyway, it's all about, and that's why. Do you watch the show Walking Dead?
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. You need to read the books, the comics.
Yeah.
Even,
I have them. Well, David has them.
oh, fucking read them.
Well, we kind of stopped ourselves because he didn't like knowing what was going to
No,
happen.
but that's the thing. They go in like they go like that. They follow like the same kind of like touchstone things. Like they both go to the prison. They both do this, but totally different people. A lot of different characters. Different people die in different times, and that
But
kind of
they're
stuff.
loyal. They
they're
don't
loyal
kill off
to,
anyone who
like-
doesn't die in the comic books.
Yeah,
they
do.
do.
Yeah.
In
Like,
the show?
there's characters that like big giant spoiler alert. Skip
Uh-oh.
ahead a minute from now. You're caught up in the show, right?
Yes, I am.
Andrea. Okay, the storyline in the comics are about probably 2 years ahead of where the comic is or the TV show is right now. Andrea's still alive.
Really?
Yeah. So that's an example where it's like reading the comics and watching the
Won't
show.
spoil
Don't
it.
won't spoil it.
All right. Okay. Might have to revisit that then.
They visit like the touchstone locations and that kind of stuff, but what happens is really different in a really unique and nerdy way. Like they really honor the comic and they do little winks that if you watch both, you're like, okay, that.
David said that from the first 2 seasons when he was reading the comics, but we haven't seen that since then.
No, keep on. You're okay. You're not going to spoil it by reading the comics.
All right.
Because I read the comics and I watch the show.
stopped
And
reading Game of Thrones for the same reason.
I think that's different. I haven't watched the show, but I think it's a straight adaptation.
You haven't watched Game of Thrones?
I missed it in the first season. I haven't gone back to catch up.
Okay. Like you haven't seen an episode?
No, not a single thing. Because I'm a nerd though. I have to start the
Dan,
meeting
are
and go
you
all the
with me?
way.
Game of Thrones?
I'm halfway through the first book, and I haven't started.
Okay, so you're just reading the book? Although the book is fantastic. But I stopped reading the books because I didn't want to know. I enjoy the show so much.
Because I think those ones are more straight adaptations of the books.
Seems like they're fairly faithful.
But the smart thing with Walking Dead is that there's no point because if you're just doing a straight adaptation, if you don't do it perfect, the nerd fans are going to be pissed at you.
Yeah.
So this way, you're making it exciting for them too. And so for example, like Merle and Daryl aren't in the comics at all.
Really?
Those characters don't.
What?
Maybe
Daryl?
they'll bring them in later on, but those characters don't exist in the comics.
They're not in the comic books?
Not yet. Who knows? They might do a cool thing where they introduce them down the road in the comics.
Well, I guess Daryl's not in it anymore anyway. I mean, Merle. It's not in it.
Another spoiler alert.
Oh.
But anyway, but the beauty is of that world, and what Kirkman was setting out to do was the idea of, he always thought the most interesting thing about a zombie story, the problem with the zombie story is like it's an apocalyptic story. And so there's no real end to it because you still have to rebuild society, and what do you do after? So for him, the most interesting part was what happens after the inception and the first month or the first couple months. It's
How
like,
does society react?
yeah, how does society react in the long term? And so his goal was to tell the zombie story that never ended and where it goes from there. So that's what's really interesting about it, especially in the comics. Read the comics.
All right, I'll check them out.
Okay, enough about Walking Dead.
All right.
Now, let's want to do some questions.
Okay. Oh, we're just okay.
Let's launch
Let's
into
reach right
it.
in. Let's do it.
So you have to do it with me though, because I might have to modify.
Okay.
If you could voice over any cartoon, what would it be?
Oh, any current cartoon?
It could be a movie. It could be if you could like be like, I want to do that part.
It's a good question. Well, one answer is Handy Manny. Are you familiar with Handy Manny, the little kids cartoon? It's like Dora the Explorer, in that the lead character is of Spanish descent, but his name is Manny and he's a handyman, and all of his tools talk. And he's animated. The show is animated, and he has tools. They carry around a toolbox, and they all have different personalities, and they talk. And I think that's really, it's my son's favorite.
And you want to be
Sam, I have a 2-year-old son.
You want to be the
His
toolbox.
No, I would be the tool that is missing, and I'm trying to think of one right now that's missing. They don't have a what's it called? A balancer with a bubble in it?
The level?
The level. I could be a level, and I'd go like, whoa.
Do they have a stud finder on the show? Huh?
Do they have a what?
A stud finder. I'm not repeating the joke. It's not as funny. A stud finder.
Oh, sorry. What's a stud finder?
You know what a stud finder is? Like a tool that like finds the beams, the studs.
I could be the stud finder.
You kind of wrecked the joke with.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was really good.
I appreciate
tried
the
to
effort.
Put it back together.
Yeah. It's okay.
All right. My second answer. Let's see if we can get another one going.
Okay.
Would be speaking of zombies, so David's right now playing. Okay, sorry, but
Okay.
we'll get real fast. He's
No,
playing
no,
the
we can-
game. He's playing the game The Last of Us.
Oh, I don't know
Have you
that
heard
game.
of it?
No.
It's brand new and it's getting like crazy reviews, and he's in the climax of it right now, and he feels like he's going to be really upset when it's over because he's just been so involved with these characters, and he said it's unlike anything he's ever played before in terms of the depth of the story and the characters that you get to.
You guys have a sweet video game set up at your house too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, David loves it. He can spend hours in his man cave. Do you have a man cave?
I have
in
like
your current house?
I have my
Yeah.
shop. You've been.
Yes, in your course.
I've
you do.
renovated that, so I have a man building.
The bet you have a
now.
man building. It totally beats our man cave. So I would like to be a voice in. There's a 14-year-old girl who's a main character, and I think I
the video
would like to be
game.
her in the video game. I think that would be really challenging to try and.
I have. Do you know Andrew Pivko?
Yep.
He was in a short of mine years ago, but he's like the voice of the player character in the Godfather game.
Really.
And I'm replaying it now, and it's so much fun for me to listen to like Pivko tell people get out of here and like steal their cars and stuff.
Wow.
It's kind of like a Grand Theft Auto type game, but wrapped around the world of the Godfather.
Oh.
Really great game. It's on the Wii. I don't know if it's on other platforms, but Pivko, it's just kind of fun.
Neat. And
Yeah.
they get some great actors, some amazing actors do these games, and they take sometimes years and years to make, right? And budgets like crazy, and they make more than movies do nowadays. So it's
That's
really
kind of. I think. I mean, I'm not savvy enough to get into it, but I think if I was like 20 again and was getting into it, I'd be going to video games instead of filmmaking, maybe.
interesting.
Because I think that's like the next art form. That because I think the one thing that audiences are really reacting to is being able to interact and be immersed. Like you said, like your husband is upset that this is going to end, right? It's like watching a TV show where you fall in love with characters, but it's different because you're part of that world. You're physically part of that world. So I think like if you're to be able to like find a way to make people connect on that level is such an amazing thing. And I think a lot of people don't get the power of video games when it comes to that. And they just like slash it off as though you're just goofing around and playing some silly little game.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's even talking about doing the online version with a few of his friends who are also playing the game. He's never done that before. That's how much he loves this game.
That's
is to
really-
like join with his friends online too.
That can get out of hand.
Yes, I have a brother who is, or was, I don't know if not so much anymore, but was really involved with the online video game world while he was finishing his doctorate. He was finishing his PhD. He had a lot of like extra time when he wasn't reading books, I guess, and he got quite involved with it. But made lots of great friends. And was in somebody's wedding party that he met playing video games with online.
That's cool.
Yeah, why not?
Sure. We're going to do a Sex After Kids video game.
That was going to ask.
With the Wii, right? And you
Yeah.
can change diapers and foreplay with the Wii remotes, right? And you have
Yeah.
to like, so it's sensitive, you can, it's kind of like doing yoga, so they'll tell you if you're doing it wrong.
Right. Well, that's good. That was helpful. So it's instructional
Yeah,
and
so you can
entertaining.
like do like the stroking.
Entertainment. Wait, no. Entercation.
Sextertainment. We
Edutainment.
should stop now.
Yeah. Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Oh, what kind of role haven't you played that you'd like to?
What kind of role haven't I played that I'd like to?
Or if there's a specific role, like a famous role, like from theater or literary or whatever. You can be specific or
That's a great
generic.
question. I've had good luck with the roles that I've been able to play. But let's just throw one out there. Something completely different from who I am, like a dominatrix would be fun.
It's not that
Someone like
different.
really. Oh no.
I'm guessing.
Does
Look
Dress
at,
say dominatrix to you? Really? I'm talking leather and chains. Actually, I don't know if I want to play
it's got a
that.
window into your life that I wasn't.
Yeah, fair enough. Dominatrix, no.
I
Somebody
didn't even- I stopped
really
you.
over dramatic. Somebody like really melodramatic. I have a lot of fun. I got to do that a lot with my sketch troupe.
Go back.
Bigger characters.
Go back to the dominatrix thing. What's the thing that
Okay.
appeals about the dominatrix?
Well, I guess it's just the having that feeling, that sense of power, bringing a sense of power to a character, someone who is just in charge of everything and in charge of everyone. I think would be, without any apologies or any thinking about it, I think would be really
You'd like
attractive.
to not give a shit.
Sure. I mean, and she would, and lots of levels. But like, yes, like just be like that, or a villain, a really good villain would be awesome. That's one of my. You're seeing the new Superman tonight.
Yeah.
I love Superman from when I was a kid. The Christopher Reeves, like, loved it.
Mm.
And in the second one, Superman 2, the woman who was the bad guy out of the trio,
Yeah.
right? The woman. I thought she was a great character, and she was just in the looks that she gave, and the way her and Lois's interactions. I thought she was a great villain and a great match for Lois. And I'll be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this
the
one
new
that you're
one.
seeing tonight, because classic. I love a good villain. Who doesn't love a good villain? We get so many of them these days with
So
our
would you-
anti-heroes.
Yeah, well,
right?
especially in TV shows, because they go both ways. But so you would want to be like a dominatrix villain.
Yeah, dominatrix villain would be
I think
fun.
dominatrix go home at night and cry a little bit.
What's that?
They go home and cry maybe
They probably do, sure.
because of all the pain they inflicted and the terrible things they said.
They go home, they put their feet up, they're like,
They make some
"God."
pasta and
Yeah, have a
you
martini.
die a little inside.
Maybe a little. But then they go back to work the next day, like, you know.
Yeah, and then they
back
get
to
over it and they're
themselves.
like, yeah, no, back to it.
That would be fun. That was a good question. Another one?
It'd be good therapy being a dominatrix.
Mhm.
I would think.
I think so too. I think everybody needs to be a little bit more in control, a little bit more powerful, maybe more aggressive.
And they get paid for it.
Real life?
Yeah.
Oh, please, right?
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, so of the jobs, anytime you get paid to be an actor is amazing. But the jobs that I look back and I'm like, holy man, were jobs where like I got, paid to learn how to ride a motorcycle, or I had a welding scene, so I had to learn how to weld, and I'm like, I'm welding! And yeah, just like things that you could
So if you
do.
got hired to be a dominatrix, would you like take advantage of it and go
Full out?
study with a
Oh,
dominatrix?
sure. Oh, research is the best for things like that. I actually was at a party, a dominatrix party once, not knowing
They have parties.
that
They
I was at a dominatrix party, but it was a
What
classy,
constitutes it?
like, picture it at the top of a condo building on Bay Street, like near Yorkville.
Sure.
A friend had brought me there, just I knew from school, a colleague that I worked with that we were kind of hanging out with, and this is his friend. So we went upstairs and they're just beautiful women, and I thought it was a friend's party on top of a condo, great, and this is this woman holding this party. And she was dressed in red leather, all the way like pretty much like pants, vest. It was a summer party, red hair. And I was just like, well, she is interesting. And I went to the washroom, and there was, like, it was a party room on a condo. So it was a public washroom, but she had outfitted it with her business cards and business cards of her associates. And I went home and looked them up online, and I was like, whoa! So that was her deal. But she was like, not the typical like that you picture, black leather and whips and chains. She was just
classy,
stunning. I don't know if you call her classy, but an archetype of like a powerful woman. She reminded me of Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman 2.
Oh, nice.
From Batman 2? Returns?
Batman Returns. Yeah.
Something like that?
That's right.
Like just awesome. So
how
I'd love to study with somebody like
How
that.
did you end up at a dominatrix party without knowing? It wasn't, okay, so
That's a good question.
It wasn't a party full of several dominatrix. It was just a party led by someone who happened to be a dominatrix.
It was led by the dominatrix. But so I got her business card, and we ran into her again later on, and she was just talking about her work, and she has a condo that she only works out of in this building.
Sure.
And she lives somewhere else, but she owns this condo and she runs her business out of it. So Bay Street types they have appointments like you would have with anybody else.
Like a dentist.
Like a dentist.
Every 6 months.
A dentist is a different form of torture. This kind of torture is actually enjoyable, apparently. And she makes hand over fist cash, and because she was talking me up, because she was like, you should consider this. We should talk sometime. And at the time I was like 22 or 23, and just being like, oh my God, are you crazy? But looking back, I'm like,
you made the wrong career move.
Well, I could have learned a lot. I could have made a lot of money, but of course, obviously, but just it appealed to the actor in me, because I was like, wow, that would be really fun. I couldn't follow through with it. I don't think. Well, you never know. But I just in awe of this woman who just made this decision for herself, made tons of money, and has this is what she does. And she was giving me her card like, call me, maybe I'll add you to my roster. No, but I could find her again. I could find her again. Yeah. Anyways, crazy you just find yourself at. So your question was, how did I end up?
Just
I don't
random.
know. Patrick, he just knew these people. He was older and British,
So
older
yeah,
British
that
guys.
one makes sense.
Please. You never know where you're going to end up with one of those guys. It's always a good time.
Number 3.
Number 3. All right, number 3 already.
You gotta get good for you.
Yeah.
I get a different one. That one doesn't really, it's more of a director question thing. Have you directed?
There you go.
It's too late, I already got rid of it.
Okay.
Who's your favorite writer?
My favorite writer, besides, like Present Company accepted, obviously.
If you said me, I would slap you in the face.
Sex After Kids is just awesome.
Thank you.
You know that. Okay, so my favorite writer, my favorite author, my favorite book is The Chrysalids. And I'm trying to remember who that wrote that.
Wow, this is
Do you remember The Chrysalids?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to tell you who wrote it because this is nice and embarrassing for you.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I can't remember either. I'm being a jerk.
I researched current events and I watched Back to the Future as preparation for this interview. So neither.
Back to the Future might likely come up. Current events.
Not so much.
We could chat about Edward Snowden if that makes you happy.
Egypt.
What's going on
Just
in Egypt?
saying Egypt makes you sound like you know what's going on. Egypt, right? Am I right? What's happening there?
But Back to the Future could potentially come up.
Yes.
What a great movie that is.
Oh, it's one of the few perfect movies.
It really is.
Every scene is just like, oh, watch this moment.
Yeah. It's just, and do you know? Okay, so I'm gonna get nerdy. Do you know that originally the time travel device was not a fridge, but it was a box?
It was just a box.
It was like a fridge-like box. It was like a box. Yeah, essentially like a rectangular stand-up. You go inside, and they had to.
Didn't they already do that with Bill and Ted's? That was
Bill and
done
Ted hadn't
10
come out
years
yet.
ago. Oh, it hadn't?
No. Bill and Ted was after Back to the Future.
Sorry.
I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna assume.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
The phone booth, right? But the idea was they had to go to a nuclear testing facility to be able to get back. And the reason they didn't go with that, they changed it from the box, was because they were worried kids were going to lock themselves inside refrigerators.
Oh, right.
And so they changed it.
You don't really have to worry that a kid's going to lock themselves inside of a DeLorean.
That would be amazing.
They didn't make that many, and apparently it went bankrupt soon after
the movie came out. Yeah, it became it's a classic car now. But I mean, it's But it's such a more, I mean, what a great change, because now it's such a more visual, visceral thing, as opposed to a static box.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't have that amazing, iconic, like, scene at the end with the Doc's at the top of the clower,
Oh, yeah.
top of the clock tower, and he's racing. It's like, are they going to get there in time? You know.
Oh, I know.
Get there in time, but I'm...
Yeah, no. Gotta go back in time. But the Doc is amazing in that movie. Michael J. Fox is me, but Christopher Lloyd
is fantastic.
Oh, his expressions. Just...
Yeah.
And just watching it as an adult, I have so much more of an appreciation of some of the moments in it that I didn't quite understand as a kid.
What's your least favorite of that trilogy?
Oh, well, I don't really care for number 2 or 3. I'll give you
at all.
Honest. I don't know. They just don't compare to me. It's kind of like
no, absolutely.
There's some. I'm that way about a lot of like trilogies and things like that, though. But I would say my least favorite would probably be the third one. That's the one where the Western one, right?
The second one's fun because it's darker.
Yeah.
What I like about the second one is that it becomes like the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead version of the first one, where they're like, there's the stuff happening in the background of the first movie, and that's what was cool about the second one.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you yes.
But
So definitely the third one.
The third one's fun as like a franchise film because it's like they're stuck in. It'd be like if there was a television series Back to the Future, the third one would have been a great episode of them stuck in the Old West. But I mean, when you're coming off, especially in the second one, where they had multiple adventures and they're going to the future and they're going to the past, and then all of a sudden they're just stuck in one place again for the entire movie, it was almost like a step back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
It was similar
really
to the first one in that he was stuck in one spot for the whole time. And, the stakes are higher because you don't have the technology that he would have had in 1955, and so the train thing was smart. What am I saying? It's a great movie. You're wrong.
So great. Did you notice, I just noticed for the first time, watching it again last night, Billy Zane is in Back to the Future.
He's
and
one of
Biff's friends.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a line in the whole movie.
I think he's in the second one, too. He plays one.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's like bald in the second one.
Well, he did become bald later on in life, Billy Zane, so it might have been.
Or maybe he wasn't bald. Maybe I'm thinking of like Titanic Billy Zane. Where he's
that is
bald.
definitely bald Billy Zane. But no, I was just like, big star, just playing one of the guys.
That's what's
I
fun about
loved
watching
it.
older movies. You're like,
Yeah.
that's so and so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the movie Bob Roberts. It's like Jack Black is one of like the stewards, like one of like the politician's stewards. He's in there, and
Really?
it's fun watching that kind of stuff.
You know that what they say about Back to the Future now, that it's if they were to go back in time now, it would go back to like the 80s? No.
Yeah, if it were to take place today, you're about 30. No, not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
2015
Right.
is the year.
Isn't that crazy? Because we were watching it last night with like all the references to the 80s, which was current time for them, and now we're making fun of all the 80s stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that would be what we would, if it went back. It's crazy.
Well, that's the other problem with watching Back to the Future 2 now, when they go to 2015, where we're so close, you're like, way wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were trying to accurately
We don't have any Mr.
Future.
Fusions yet. You can just put in garbage and it
Or
creates
the
a time machine.
Or the jacket. Setting jacket to fit and change the
that's
size of the
right.
jacket.
Oh, yeah.
They could predict rain to the second.
Yeah. Yeah. Someday.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know, but the
Flying
jacket,
car.
fit.
I mean, flying cars, never going to happen,
I
right?
don't think so.
Because how do you regulate the airways?
That's what I'm saying.
There's going to be so many ridiculous accidents all the time.
All the time.
Will never happen.
No. What I think will happen will be individual
Jetpacks?
I think that's coming.
But
You
they're
heard
only
it
be able
here.
to, but
It's
they're
coming.
But they're only gonna be able to go so fast because you're gonna have the same problem. People flying into each other. If you're just zooming along, how do you know someone's not gonna be coming this way?
Well,
Unless you've got radar on you and that kind of stuff. But that's complicated.
it is complicated, but I think it's going to happen. And I think people will just have to maybe bird instincts will.
But people are gonna have bird instincts by buying a jetpack. You get a chip modulated
Maybe.
inside.
Maybe. It's going to happen.
I don't want to fly in a jetpack.
No, you don't want. Oh, really?
I would, maybe for fun, but not as a mode of transportation.
No.
I'd wanna come in 10 years later when they figured
What about
this shit out.
skipping traffic and skipping like Steven Spielberg takes a helicopter to work every day, and he doesn't have to worry about LA traffic or anything like that.
Just pollution. What a
Well,
jerk, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And are there eco-friendly helicopters?
I'm going to say no.
No. What's going to happen a lot faster and is already in there is the Google cars.
Oh, yes.
Those like driverless cars.
Yeah.
Which are great because it's almost like a personal streetcar driver.
Yeah.
Right? You can set the thing about this. You don't have to worry about a designated driver. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. It's going to kill the taxi industry. Because you have your own personal taxi. It's like you don't have to leave your car behind somewhere and go get it the next day.
That's true.
You want to send your kid to school, you just program the car to take them.
I hadn't thought about these points. That's really true.
I've thought a lot about it.
My thing is,
Clearly.
like, people are so about their cars, like it's such their personal mode of freedom. I don't know if I can see them just...
But people felt the same way about horses. And that was actually a physical animal you loved and took care of.
Yeah.
But it's like, you want to ride a horse, go to a horse ranch. I think people will still be able, you'll have, instead what'll happen is you'll have like these places where you can go and just drive a car for fun. Like you can go to like a motorsport and like drive really fast and drive an awesome car. And in driving cars, who knows if this will happen like in our lifetime, but I think it'll get to a point where racing a car will be akin to like riding a horse now. Where it's like nobody does it to get around. You do it because it's a mode of transportation that is enjoyable.
Well, we'll definitely have to see. Have you ever read Canticle for Leibowitz?
Sorry,
Canticle
again in
for
English?
Leibowitz?
No.
Canticle for Leibowitz. I read it in grade 13.
Canticle?
A Canticle for Leibowitz. It's one of those books that sometimes you have to read in English. It's
Okay.
the only reason why I would have read it. And at the end,
I never
so it's
heard of
one of
it.
those apocalyptic. It's a great, great book. So it's post-apocalyptic. Nothing is left except for everything's sand. Cities are sand. Everything is sand, except for these monks that have somehow survived, and they found blueprints of the old world, and they don't know what they are, but they just know that they must copy them so they can figure out in future generations what they are and get back to the old people, which are the ones that destroy themselves. Anyways, throughout the book, you find them. They build themselves back up to the society to the point where they were right before they destroyed themselves. And the monks are kind of still ruling things. And the society's progressed so much slower that instead of cars, instead of taxis, instead of anything, you go outside of your house and anywhere you want to go to, there's just a lineup of, I guess, cars, technically. But you just get into any car and you just tell them where to take you, and it'll take you anywhere you want to go. So do you ever see society getting to that point where we just don't even own cars anymore?
That's
we
like
just go and just get in one.
In Switzerland, it's like the bikes. It's like bikes are just everywhere, and you just like when you get somewhere, you just leave the bike, and if someone else grabs it, they just I'm going to get the specifics wrong, but it's like a government-sponsored program where there's a shitload of bikes, and they're just free to the public, and you just grab a bike and you ride whatever, and you leave it where you're there, and then there's usually generally a bike within every 5-10 feet of where you are.
Really?
It's kind of like the Bixie bikes here,
Yeah.
but they're free,
But
and they're everywhere. And so you can ride one home at night and you leave it there, but it's like you don't keep it and store it because you don't need to, because you can get another one anywhere else.
That's really neat. I like
It's
that
an
idea.
amazing program.
Especially since I've been to Switzerland and it costs like $5 to ride the bus.
It could be
so I'd rather
Sweden.
take
It could be Sweden, not
Oh, okay.
Switzerland. I'm getting my SWs confused.
Okay.
But either way, it's still like I think when you were saying that, it made me think of that because wouldn't that be a great system where you don't even need to own a car? You just click something on your smartphone, you hit the app, it's like I need a car, and it comes like a taxi would.
I think it is great for all the reasons that you listed. But for me, like having grown up in a small town, Thunder Bay, where your car was like your personal freedom, you could just go anywhere and get out of town whenever you wanted to. I don't know that people will give that up. I have this argument with my husband, David, because he's like, no, for sure, it's going that way. And I'm like, I don't know, personal freedom, get your car and it's your car
That's what
and
your
you drive
jetpack.
around.
That's why you have a jetpack.
Okay, all right, okay. I'll give him my car if I can keep my jetpack.
Yeah, but I just think that's why it's the same with the horse thing, right? It's just like it's just going to go that way because.
Yeah, it does seem that like a.
I think it's like you would pay. It's a
partially
paid service. You pay for subscription, and then maybe you pay based on usage. So if you're going out of town or on a big road trip, then you would pay more. You pay by the mile or whatever. Maybe I don't know. I'm not going to do it myself.
It's amazing what our kids, right? Like I think about Sam and.
Yeah, your grandkids are gonna be like, you had to drive your car. That's what the question.
Yeah, it's totally gonna be. We were like David and I were talking like
with a
we grew
wheel.
up, exactly.
I use my brain.
What about when it comes to movies and things like that and books? Like David said, Sam's gonna Sam and your children too. We had VHS and then we went to DVDs and and things that were like at least they came through different formats, but they were tangible things. Like Sam will never have a DVD really, or when everything is just digital. Like he'll be like, well, you had to pick up something and you had to put it into something.
You had to walk over to the TV.
What? And you this and that. It's gonna seem so crazy.
I had this conversation with my son Ephraim, who's 4, about like walking down to like a video store near us. And I said, well, we'll walk there. He's like, and I said, this is what we did when I was a kid. We'd walk to the video store. He's like, well, why didn't you just use Netflix?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, because... Yeah. And then having to explain how Netflix didn't exist. He's like, well, that's silly. You should have had it. It's like, well, thanks for that.
Can't argue with that. We should have.
It took me an hour to download a 2-minute song when I was in high school. It's like...
That's right.
Remember that?
Or to log onto the internet, it's like, oh, my cocktail is starting, and I got 10 minutes. I'll just go get a snack, and by the time I get back, it'll probably almost be done. And
then just as you're about to read it, your mom's like, I need to call you in! And it's like, but I just got on! I'm trying to watch the new Star Wars trailer. I just need another 20 minutes for it to load. And I remember that. I remember like trying to download the first like episode 1 Star Wars trailer, and it's just taking like
that must have drove you nuts.
But they also had like the nerd build-up where you're just like, it's coming in like an hour, I'm going to be able to watch the Star Wars trailer. Where now, if I had to wait 10 seconds, I'd be furious.
Yeah. This morning, something was taking a long time, and I'm like, what is happening? And long time was 10 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, this is ridiculous. Where like, 20 years ago, I would just be amazed that it was happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I can watch a trailer on my computer. I don't have to go to the theater.
I think as a generation, I think we're lucky, though. Like, we remember...
No, we're shitty.
But we're gonna know everything.
Oh, we remember. So we remember before we were shitty.
Phones
so
that
that's
had
nice.
cords on them, and we remember business
I had
signals.
A party line.
You had a party line. We
you
had like a
Thunder
cottage.
Bay. You should have had a party line.
Yeah, my dad had a camp. We called cottages camps in Thunder Bay, but we do. And his camp had a party line. 1 ring was his. 2 rings was our next door neighbor.
I can't remember. Every time I tell the story, I say something different because I can't actually remember. But I think we were like too long.
Did you ever listen in?
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of a party.
They didn't have anything exciting going on, but every once in a while, you're just like, what's happening?
Well, it was more of like, it was like the old lady on the street always listened in.
Oh,
you just
really?
knew she was always on. You could hear because it sounded like hollow, like more hollow or something when the more people that were on.
Yeah, for sure.
So you just assumed that she was always listening.
Mm-hmm. My brother, he was the worst listener. We used to listen to my phone calls when I was a teenager, and he'd be like, I'd be like, Matthew, get off the phone. He'd be like, he was the worst listener. He didn't hide it at all. I could hear him breathing. Oh, it was the worst. Okay, sorry.
Number 4. I thought you don't have to apologize.
Number 4. Here we go.
If you could star in a music video, what would it be?
Oh!
You get really excited there.
Yes. Oh, if I could star in a music video, like, okay, so it doesn't have to be I know I'm always like qualifying these questions.
You can either recreate it and be something completely different, or you could insert yourself into a pre-existing one, or you could take a song and make a new music video. There's so many options here.
So many options.
It's too many options.
No, I'll do it. Well, okay. I would do Flashdance. Like, so I'll make it look good though, right? Like someone will teach me how to dance?
Sure. Yeah, you're going to have a full choreographer.
Full choreographer, make me look awesome. I would do the Flashdance What a Feeling video. At the end, have you ever seen Flashdance?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You mean a flash mob?
Because David hasn't. What?
Flashdance is the movie?
Yeah, Flashdance the movie where she's a dancer, but she wants to go to ballet school.
Then I haven't.
Oh my god!
Jar? Don't throw up in my jar.
No, I'm not gonna throw up. I just had to yell somewhere. Have you seen it, Dan? Flashdance? I know it's probably before, but
Don't get mad.
No, I just won't. I just want to sit you down and watch it right now. If not, just watch the last 10 minutes. So she's 18 and she wants to go to ballet school, but she's never had any. She has no money and nobody's ever believed in her. And she's a dancer at night in this bar, but she's not a stripper, kind of, but not really. She doesn't get naked. She just dances and
she's a cock tease.
But at the that's right. But at the very end, with a heart of gold.
Cock tease with a heart of gold. That's the next movie I'm pitching.
There you go.
She's a cock tease with a
That's
heart of gold.
I would like to play. I once played a reformed stripper with a heart of gold, American Pie 5. Look it up. And anyways, I digress. But the last 10 minutes are of her like finally getting the chutzpah and the guts to audition for this school, and they're all like really snobby and looking at her in this line of judges. and she comes in and she falls. She falls in the first like 10 seconds. You're like, ah! And then she's like, can I start again? And they're like, and then they hate her even more. And she's so nervous. She's a record player. It's a record player. She's starting the record. She drops the needle. She takes a deep breath. And then she delivers the performance of her life.
Because it's the end of the movie.
It's amazing. Oh my God. She does every kind of dancing, break dancing and jazz and all over the place. And she's so amazing. And every time I watch it, it just
makes you want to stand up and dance.
Makes me want to be in that video. And so that is what I would be for sure. Only if I do it well. Yeah. It's the movie, guys. You know the movie where like she pulls the bucket of water and it splashes over her while she's in the seat?
No.
What?
Isn't that like Carrie with the cow's blood?
She's dancing and then there's a silhouette and then she pulls the water, splash, and then she flips her hair. No?
You just sold shampoo.
Yeah, she probably did too, guys. I'm sorry to reenact all that for you, but don't you want to see the movie now?
No.
Oh.
I'll YouTube the last 10 minutes because that's what you told me all I had to do.
All right.
If it's all just leading up to that.
It's a great 80s movie, too. I think it came out I remember it because it was the first, like, movie that my parents ever rented, you know, like, down the road, and I watched it surreptitiously. And, yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry I'm taking way too long.
That's okay.
But it was great.
Last question. I just have to, and this is some ridiculously inappropriate.
Okay. What is your favorite sexual position? I don't think that this is appropriate for...
That's why you give them to me, and I change them and make them
this?
appropriate. No. What was the best scene you ever did? Your favorite scene you ever done?
Oh, well, it has to be something from Sex After Kids.
You don't have to say that, but you can.
And there were a lot of favorites there.
So what was your... Well, let's promote the movie. What was your favorite...
Let's do it. In Sex After Kids?
Without going spoilery.
Okay, without going spoilery. My favorite scene... Well, it's definitely with Ennis. The Ennis Esmer, who played we are married in the film. I guess the scene where we are attempting to have sexual relations for the first time since having a baby. Just because it was, you know, personal. We had so much fun rehearsing it and improving it and seeing what worked and what didn't. And working it, and we laughed a lot. So it was hard not to laugh while we were filming it. It was great, and you know, as someone who's been through it personally, and Jeremy has too, and Dan, I don't know if you have children. Not yet. You don't look that excited about the prospect. It was really great. I'll always remember it.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yay! I love that scene. Well, we won't talk about too much because you have to see it.
That's right.
Okay, so how we end the podcast is you have one of two options.
Okay.
You can either display some kind of talent you have.
Oh. Okay.
Or...
I didn't see this part of the podcast. Or what's the other one?
Or you can arm wrestle me.
Oh. What if my talent is arm wrestling?
Then I'm screwed.
I haven't arm wrestled in a long time. Do you always beat your opponent?
I'm not very good.
Have you beaten anybody?
I've lost twice today already so far.
You've lost twice today?
Yeah.
Oh, you're already tired out.
I'm not even... Well, I don't even know if that's it. You're studying my arm. It's just flat.
That could be a point in my favor if you're already tired out.
Are we going to do this?
I did biceps yesterday, though, man. I don't know. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to lose to a girl in a flower dress. That's what's going to happen right now. I'm going to try really hard, though, now. Now I have to, right? I have to give it, don't I?
Okay, so you know the rules. You play by the rules?
I guess. What's the rules?
All right. Elbows stay on the table.
Yeah.
All the time.
And don't punch your opponent in the face. I start like that usually.
Oh, wow. And something about thumbs. Dan, do you know what the rule is about thumbs?
Thumbs stay on.
Thumbs, like, you can't, like, I think David showed me, you can't, like, go like
You can't go over the top.
You can't go over the top.
That's the rule.
Is that a movie about arm wrestling? It's
a movie that combines the horrors of child kidnapping and arm wrestling.
And the joys of arm wrestling. Okay. You want to call it, Dan?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right. No props. I got this. You're going down the line. You're going down. It's going to happen. Don't reach the
You put the ground on the table.
Oh, I did?
You did? No, you didn't.
Sorry. All right. Fair and square. It's the first arm wrestling I've ever lost on camera.
Do you do a lot? Are you part of like a league?
No, but I could maybe start one now. Flower Dresses League of Arm Wrestling.
I like it. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So that's it. If you like the podcast, like us on Facebook. And if you have any ideas for questions, put them on our wall and we'll add them to the jar.
Okay.
Thanks for coming
Thanks, guys. See ya.